Hello and welcome to another Overlord Lore video, and today we are going to take a look at what precisely has happened after Ironsol Gone has taken over the Empire of Barut and made it into a vassal state. For a lot has actually happened after, which had been explained during the 12th and the 13th novel, or rather the intermission within the Holy Kingdom arc. So this too is spoiler territory for the upcoming Overlord movie. However, I really doubt that the 90 minutes or 4 episodes of runtime the movie actually has, in order to press 2 entire novels or 684 pages of story into one single film, will leave much room to explain this anyway. But before we're going to take a look at all of this, let me thank my Patreons for supporting this channel. Furthermore, I say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function who made one-time donations. Now, with all of that said, let's take a look at what happened to the army after Ironsol Gone has taken over the Sorcerer King. Now, with that said, let's take a look at what happened to the army after Ironsol Gone has taken over the Empire of Barut. Well, we already have learned that the 8 Imperial Legions, during my previous videos at least, didn't make it out unscathed from the massacre of the Cuts Plain either, because they retreated so fast and panicked from an advancing Dark Young that hundreds of knights were trampled to death, and that many more, even elite knights, simply resigned from service, not wanting to risk any chance of any kind of conflict with the Sorcerer Kingdom. Additionally, the Imperial Knights have lost the will to fight against the Sorcerer King and begged Jerknef to not start any conflict with Ironsol Gone at any cost. But wait, there's more, for the population itself has now at least a better opinion of the Undead King than before, ever since Ironsol Gone has fought in the Amphitheatrum in Aventar, in the Imperial capital city of Barut, against Gojin, the War Troll. Now the populace was okay enough with the thought of being ruled by an undead, that many aspiring and seasoned adventurers left the Empire in order to join the now state-run adventurer guild in Irantel. One that isn't simply an anti-monster mercenary guild anymore, but one that explores, maps and discovers, that offers actual adventurers an actual adventure. Simultaneously, the economic boom that the Sorcerer Kingdom experienced after a short time of economic trouble now spilled over to the Empire. And by the way, you can really see that months and years had been skipped between single episodes of the 4th season. For the Empire now is also renting skeletal labor for hard and repetitive physical labor, aka mining and farming, therefore skyrocketing the food and the raw material production. But due to manual labor being now less work intensive, a huge amount of peasants are now out of a job and need to seek work in the cities and other places. But thanks to cheap resources and cheap manual labor, due to the undead workforce, construction and manufacturing skyrocket, because these kinds of works still required repetitive manual labor. But thanks to the cheap resources and cheap manual labor, due to an undead workforce being incorporated into the Empire, construction and manufacturing skyrocketed. Also, transportation via the carts of the Soul Eaters was quite easy and could happen at a very low price. This had the consequence that the price of labor, raw materials and transportation collapsed, meaning the Empire and the Sorcerer Kingdom manufactured much more at a fraction of the original price, but since the cost of living fell also steeply, even a low wage still could get you a house, enough food for you and your family, as well as some amenities now. And by the way, this is also how the Empire avoided the so-called Dutch disease, the shrinking of a nation's industrial sector due to the discovery and extraction of natural resources. Now, my point I'm trying to make is that the population has no interest in ending the highly lucrative relationship with the Sorcerer Kingdom, that the Imperial Legions didn't want to fight His Majesty the Sorcerer King, and that Jerknef, after losing Fluda already and being caught off guard in the arena, has now also lost so much political support that he could not resist the Sorcerer Kingdom's will. meaning that reforming the military was extremely easy for Jerknov to see through, and the reform itself saw a further reduction of the strength of the legion, instead of having now 8 legions like before, including an air guard made up of griffins and hippogriffs, as well as being augmented by magic casters. The legions now were to be cut in half to only 4 full legions. However, these legions would then be bolstered by undead from the Sorcerer Kingdom. So think of Death Knights, Death Warriors, Death Assassins, a whole lot of Elder Liches and Skeletons, and then some other more basic and expendable undead. Now, of course, the military didn't like the idea to serve together with an undead force, and normally this would require Jerknov to come up with a well-balanced and intricate plan in order to account for the legion's interest as well as the wider interest of the empire itself. But ever since the Sorcerer Kingdom has taken them over, Jerknov's work time had been cut in half, and he could resolve this problem, the protest of the military against the incorporation of the undead troops, with a simple letter that politely told the military that if they have a problem with the undead, they are of course free to write this complaint to His Majesty the Sorcerer King himself. After writing this communique, Jerknov had the rest of the day off and met his new best friend, Periuru. Since both had been subjugated by the Sorcerer King, they now were quite close and commiserated over their subjugation. They also hugged each other dearly, and Jerknov even saw a smile creeping on the toothed face of the demi-human leader. And finally, Jerknov in the Amphitheatrum feared that if they did not instantly submit, that the Sorcerer Kingdom then would do something far worse to them, and the fact that the Quagoa had been culled to only 10,000 individuals was likely seen as proof that Emperor Jerknov's worst fears were right and spot on. And with that said, I hope you now have some closure of what happens to the Empire after Einzulgon had left for the Isilesian Mountains. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Badger Ye, Bet Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowdy0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Duckwagon, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Phil Ralshivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kylar, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pentum, Personage, Primus 11, Cune Karakos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ad Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.